Lassie Farm here. I've got just enough time before my class here in Hastings, Minnesota to do an episode of The Merchant and the Alchemist's Gate. Picking up from where we left off, Bassarat proceeded to tell me that visitor's story, and if it pleases your majesty, I will recount it here. The tale of the wife and her lover. Ranaya had been married to Hassan for many years, and they lived the happiest of lives. One day she saw her husband dine with a young man, whom she recognized as the very image of Hassan when she had first married him. So great was her astonishment that she could scarcely keep herself from intruding on their conversation. After the young man left, she demanded that Hassan tell her who he was, and Hassan related to her an incredible tale. "Have you told him about me?" she asked. "Did you know what lay ahead of us when we first met?" "I knew I would marry you from the moment I saw you," Hassan said, smiling, "but not because anyone had told me. Surely, wife, you would not wish to spoil that moment for him." So Ranaya did not speak to her husband's younger self, but only eavesdropped on his conversation and stole glances at him. Her pulse quickened at the sight of his youthful features. Sometimes our memories fool us with their sweetness, but when she beheld the two men seated opposite each other, she could see the fullness of the younger one's beauty without exaggeration. At night she would lie awake thinking of it. Some days after Hassan had bid farewell to his younger self, he left Cairo to conduct business with a merchant in Damascus. In his absence, Ranaya found the shop that Hassan had described to her and stepped through the gate of years to the Cairo of her youth. She remembered where he had lived back then, and so was easily able to find the young Hassan and follow him. As she watched him, she felt a desire stronger than she had felt in years for the older Hassan. So vivid were her recollections of their youthful lovemaking. She had always been a loyal and faithful wife, but here was an opportunity that would never be available again. Resolving to act on this desire, Ranaya rented a house and in subsequent days bought furnishings for it. Once the house was ready, she followed Hassan directly while she tried to gather enough boldness to approach him. In the jeweler's market, she watched as he went to a jeweler, showed him a necklace set with 10 gemstones, and asked him how much he would pay for it. Ranaya recognized it as one Hassan had given her in the days after their wedding. She had not known he had once tried to sell it. She stood a short distance away and listened, pretending to look at some rings. "Bring it back tomorrow and I will pay you 1,000 dinars, said the jeweler. Young Hassan agreed to the price and left. As she watched him leave, Ranaya overheard two men talking nearby. "Did you see that necklace? It is one of ours. Are you certain?" asked the other. "I am. That is the bastard who dug up our chest. Let us tell our captain about him. After this fellow has sold his necklace, we will take his money and more." The two men left without noticing Ranaya, who stood with her heart racing, but her body motionless like a deer after a tiger has passed. She realized that the treasure Hassan had dug up must have belonged to a band of thieves, and these men were two of its members. Now they were observing the jewelers of Cairo to identify the person who had taken their loot. Ranaya knew that since she possessed the necklace, the young Hassan could not have sold it. She also knew that the thieves could not have killed Hassan, but it could not be Allah's will for her to do nothing. Allah must have brought her here so that he might use her as his instrument. Renaya returned to the Gate of Years, stepped through to her own day, and at her house found the necklace in her jewelry box. Then she used the Gate of Years again, but instead of entering it from the left side, she entered it from the right, so that she visited the Cairo of 20 years later. There she sought out her older self, now an aged woman. The older Renaya greeted her warmly and retrieved the necklace from her own jewelry box. The two women then rehearsed how they would assist the young Hassan. The next day, the two thieves were back with a third man, whom Renaya assumed was their captain. They all watched as Hassan presented the necklace to the jeweler. As the jeweler examined it, Renaya walked up and said, "What a coincidence, jeweler. I wish to sell a necklace just like that." She brought out her necklace from a purse she carried. "That is remarkable," said the jeweler. "I've never seen two necklaces more similar." Then the aged Renaya walked up. "What do I see? Surely my eyes deceive me." And with that she brought out a third identical necklace. "The seller sold it to me with the promise that it was unique. This proves him a liar." "Perhaps you should return it," said Renaya. "That depends," said the aged Renaya. She asked Hassan, "How much is he paying you for this?" 1,000 dinars, said Hassan, bewildered. "Really? Jeweler, would you care to buy this one too?" "I must reconsider my offer," said the jeweler. While Hassan and the aged Renaya bargained with the jeweler, Renaya stepped back just far enough to hear the captain berate the other thieves. "You fools," he said. "It is a common necklace. You would have us kill half the jewelers in Cairo and bring the guardsmen down on our heads." He slapped them and led them off. And we will leave it there for now. I got to get to my class. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.